And now I do whatever it takes to just be the best person I can every single day. And that's more than just motivation. That's discipline. Because at the other end of discipline is freedom.
I think that mindset plays a lot into culture.
Ooh. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that right now. Let's talk about that right now, actually. And what I mean by that is that there are many cultures that have a certain narrative with them. And I bet you a lot of people are like, hold on, no, where's he going with this?
Okay.
Hear me out. Right? Not necessarily in a culture like race or things like that. Culture like social narratives.
Okay.
I was raised in a culture where I have to stick to certain values. Otherwise, I felt like it'd be the death of me. Right? So I had no choice but to experience the fruition of success and put myself in position to experience success. Right? But part of that came with a mindset shift. Before, I'm going to tell you guys a story right now. In the summer of 2018, that made me, 12 years old, I went to this military academy. And before this military academy, I was a follower. Like, I was very, I don't want to say I was submissive because that sounds weird, right? I was very hesitant to take action, right? Very hesitant to speak my voice. During that month that I was at that camp, right? It was just me and my brother, but we were separated, right? During that month, I experienced such radical change that I literally went from being like a shy individual from the start of it to being a top leader at the end of it. And that was brought up, because it came from environment, and those people all pushed me to be a leader. I was put into it by force, and that is something that I'm grateful for, because I've carried that with, even though that was 6 years ago, 7 years ago, regardless of the length, right? I still carry that with me to today, and that is something that you have to almost put yourself in position to experience it. That right? Let's say there's someone and they want to experience financial success. Well, let me ask you this: what are you doing to enable yourself to experience that success? Right? Who are you talking to that has experienced it themselves? You are the sum of the 5 people you hang around with.
That's right.
So who's in your circle? Is it a bunch of bums, or is it people that will allow you to share that wealth?
Are you hanging around people who are pushing you further every single day? There is no time to waste. We live in a culture. We live in the hustle culture. We live in America. All right? We live in the land of opportunity. There is nothing holding you back in this country. So stop holding yourself back. It's the mindset. It's a mindset shift. You need to shift it if you want to become what you really want to become. It's a shift.
You must stray away from the victim mindset that the cards are stacked against. I wouldn't say the cards are stacked against you. I would just say you don't know how to deal with the bad hand of cards. Life is unfair. But if life is unfair for everyone, then that makes life fair game for everybody too.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Let's say we have 2 individuals, both in the same position, different mindsets. Let's take person A, right? We'll give person A we'll give him a $50,000 salary and a wife, right? Person B will have the same, but we're going to change the situation up a little bit.
Okay.
Let's say person A has a shaky relationship, but he has a stable job, right? Let's say he wants to experience success within his relationship without risking the stability of his job.
Okay.
Because he knows that he's going to have to invest more time into that relationship right now, right? Let's say he doesn't believe that that's possible. So with that subconscious thought, over time, that'll grow into reality.
Ooh.
Let's take person B. Person B understands that it takes time management and it takes responsibility to be able to cultivate those relationships with both each individual, with each topic, to be able to really push them to their best potential. And he thinks that he's capable of doing that. Both individuals are right. One says that they can, one says that they can't. Both people are correct. Your mind enables you to do things that you don't think are physically possible. But it doesn't matter what you think is physically possible. Because if you never take action and you never take that leap, you'll never know what's possible or what's not. And it all comes from your mind.
That's right.
Because every action you do is derived from a message telling your body, from your brain emitting some signals that go out and allow you to do things, right? But if your brain is telling you, and you allow your brain to tell you that you are not capable of greatness, then you'll never be capable of greatness.
That's correct. Let's talk about these words real quick. I can't, I can. You should shift the words, shift the paradigm of the word that you use, and you say, I must.
Oh.
I must wake up in the morning and work out. I can, I can't. You need to change your vocabulary ASAP.
Exactly.
The words that you are using are holding you back from becoming what you really want to become. And think about it. Think about it. Who do you want to be in 5 years? Who do you want to be in 5 years? Think about that. Sacrifice the present to make sure that the future is what you want it to be. We are capable individuals. We are visionaries. We in real time can imagine the future that we want, and then we could live accordingly to that. If you think that you can never become, let's say, successful, if you think you can never get that relationship that you want, then you will never, ever get it. You're not going to just stumble upon $1 million. You're never going to stumble upon the girl of your dreams. It doesn't happen. You have to do it on your own, and that starts from changing your mindset, from becoming a victimized person into a person that is capable of doing anything. Because just look in history, man. There's been people who have overcome the absolute worst. People who have overcome oppression, prejudice, racism, and they become the most influential figures in our history. Look at Malcolm X. Look at Malcolm X. He did his time. He came back stronger than ever. And then society took him down.
That happened to you. Let's take a look at our present day mindset. I would say the CEO of mindset. David Goggins.
David Goggins. One of the baddest mother effers. Very clean podcast in the world.
He is a very, very, very honorable individual. Now, if you don't know David Goggins, I'll give you a little bit of background on him. David Goggins was a very overweight. I was saying he was in 300, 200 pounds.
He was pushing 300.
He was pushing
290.
He was a very spherical figure, right?
Huge. He was obese for his size.
Absolutely massive. What?
Okay, no, but keep going with the point.
Would you believe me if I told you that same individual within 3 months lost over 100 pounds and ran a 100-mile marathon? You're probably thinking right now that is some absolute cap, right? That there's no way that's possible.
Doesn't even sound
Maybe
possible.
your mind, because you can't experience yourself doing that, you feel other people are not capable of doing that either. David Goggins had a mindset shift. He no longer saw himself as a victim of his situation. He saw himself as a predator to now take whatever situation it is and just kick it in the teeth. Right? David Goggins is literally the embodiment of how mindset can affect someone's life, regardless if it's a good or bad direction, right? He has such. If you haven't read his book, read Never Finished by David Goggins, and all that book is about an explanation of his mindset and how he got from point A to point B, and it is a super good book. But just know that your mindset literally has power over you, right? And that can be for good or bad. But in order to make sure that the fruition of your thoughts is something that you want to happen, you have to place yourself. You have to already live as if your goal is in the present, and then work up to that. Right?
David Goggins, overweight, and then he was like, you know what? Screw this. He said he watched something on television of these army people doing stuff, and he was like, oh, I can never do something like that because I'm overweight. And then he said, screw that, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and try and run a mile. But he couldn't even run a mile. He had to start somewhere. He ran like a fourth of the mile and then walked the rest of the way home. David Goggins is a man who ran a marathon every weekend for 8 weeks, or no, it was 100-mile races for 8 weeks in a row. Some of y'all can't even get up and run a mile tomorrow because y'all are too lazy.
But that's no judgment, though. We're saying right now, you have the ability to do that, but your mind is telling you that you don't. Don't listen to your mind, right? Because your mind can be the greatest liar on earth.
Ooh.
Listen. When there was a saying that goes that when your body or when your mind says that you're done, you're actually only, what, like 40%? 40% of the way there. So when you're running that mile and you feel like giving up, go an extra mile.
This David Goggins ran his first 100 miles, and he was doing it to honor one of his fallen veterans. And he ran it, and he literally crapped himself.
No.
He crapped himself. No joke. He crapped himself. He broke his ankles. He was in pain. But most people would give up on the 20th mile. 100-mile races. This is bonkers. And he ran
Absolutely.
it. He ran it in shambles. He ran it broken legs. Basically broke his body to get this done. He said don't finish when you think you're done. But no. It was like, don't finish when you say it's ready, or like finish when you're done. Do you know what
I get you. And I actually had something very similar to that too, right? Let's take it back to, I want to say 2018 or 2017, right? For a kid, I was overweight. I was fat. I was round, right? Like, I'd be scared to take off my shirt to go swimming.
Big boned.
Yeah. No, definitely not big bone. Just fat, right? I was a fat kid.
Okay.
And one day I went to the doctor, and the doctor came up to me. This is a true story, right? I'm not lying about any of this. The doctor said, he's like, you are at risk of diabetes given your family's history, right? He's like, if you continue to live the way you are, you're getting diabetes within the next 2 years. And I was like 12 years old when he told me this, right? But I was a fat 12-year-old kid. So I didn't let my age or anything that stop me. The moment I heard those words, I instantly made a change. You can ask anyone who knows me, right? I stopped eating freaking fries and chicken tenders wherever I went out, and it was salmon. My diet was literally just salmon, rice, and water for like 3 months. I promise you that's true. And I went from being like this to slimming up again. And I started involving myself in environments that pushed me and enabled me to. I literally joined track and cross country, right? And from a fat kid, can you imagine a fat kid doing cross country? Right, those two don't mix. A fat kid and cross do not mix. But I didn't care whether it mixed or not, right? Because I told myself, I was like, there's no way that I'm gonna become a victim of this just disease because I let myself get to that point, right? So I took that. I literally grabbed it and so I took it and I placed it in the side, right? And I took control over my life. And a 13-year-old kid, I'd be in my basement pumping out push-ups.
That's right.
And my dad at the time, he had a set of 25-pound dumbbell, and I couldn't even curl them at the time. What I would do is I'd literally just grab and just hold them, right? I would literally just stand there holding the dumbbell, building some arm strength and arm endurance. And I track my progression through how many push-ups I can do.
Look at this man. Credentials. Look at this.
That is a round individual.
It's a round. That's not big boned. That's big lot of skin fat thing.
I promise you, what the story I'm telling you is true, right? Think about it. To have that mindset shift at a young age, you have to be so disciplined to do that. And I'm not trying to praise myself or something, but that is literally something that you have to like. If you don't take into action in that present time, then it'll never get done.
Woo!
Because if I didn't do that, I'd probably be even bigger today.
Yeah.
Right? I'd probably take up half this couch. You'd probably be sitting like with your feet crossed together, trying to, give me space on the couch. But no, you have to take whatever situation you're in, all right? Whether you're financially challenged, whether you're in a similar situation like I was in, right? I promise you can change. You just have to take that action and really put effort into changing your situation, right? And what you can do is you start by changing your environment and you change your mindset. Because if you change your environment, your mindset will automatically change, right? Let's say you take someone who's financially challenged and you put them in a room with a bunch of millionaires. I guarantee you those millionaires are going to drop some knowledge on that person, and they're going to see money from a different perspective as soon as they exit that room,
true.
Right? And so you need to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people who enable you to have a good mindset, right? But at the same time, you need to actually make sure you're putting effort in to practice on that. Because you can learn everything, like, all the tips and tricks, whatever. But if you don't put any of it into practice, what's the use of it?
No.
How do you expect to be successful if you cannot even get up on time when your alarm rings? Right? And that's kind of a vague comparison between the two.
No, but it's really true.
But how you do anything is how you do everything. Think about it. How many times have you seen some trash on the counter
You just
leave it there because you say I'll do it later.
How many times do you see the dishes in the sink and you just leave it there because you're too lazy?
I'm guilty of that too. I'm not trying to do the dishes. Well, I'm wrong, and I need to realize that if I don't do those dishes now, that'll spread into this mindset of I can do anything later, which is not true. Because I must take action now. Because if I don't take action now, then it'll never get done. And if it will never get done, then I'll always find an excuse as to justify why it never happened. And I'll avoid the accountability of it. That is a mindset of a victimized person. Avoiding accountability.
Ooh.
You see, if I were to live in that past situation that I just showed you guys in, right? I bet you I could have found all these issues. I could have blamed it on culture. I could have blamed it on not having access to the gym. I could have blamed it on all these different factors for everything except for myself. Which really, that's what it was, right? Because in reality, I was the one who put myself in that position, which meant that I had to be the one to get myself out of it. Because no one is going to do it for you, right?
It's true.
You have to be the one to do it yourself. You have to be the one to really take that action. Because you can have people motivate you and support you along the way, but what good is it if you don't put that into actual practice and you don't actually do it yourself? You can have all these things, all this, motivation, all this so-called discipline that you think you have, but if you just leave it on a thought and leave it in your head and you don't put it into your life, then you're just going to stay in the same place that you are. And you're never going to change.
Use the 5-second rule because sometimes your mind psychs yourself out, right? So if you want to make your bed, do it in 5 seconds, or else if you take more than 5 seconds, you're going to come up with a million excuses as to why you shouldn't make your bed right here, right now. Yep. And that can go for anything that you should be doing, right? Just do the things that you need to do. Stop putting things off because it doesn't just hurt you. It hurts everyone around you, right? The weights are not going to lift themselves. The grades are not going to be the grades themselves. You're not going to get the A's just randomly. You have to put the work in. And no matter how long it takes, it's going to be worth it in the end. You're going to be swimming in the fruits of your labor if you just do what you're supposed to do. And it's really not that difficult. It's really not that hard to try and understand. If you want to live a certain lifestyle, then you need to make the sacrifices. It's just what you need to do. There is no excuse anymore. We don't have excuses. Excuses are for the weak. They really are.
Keep going.
No, I mean I'm just saying there's so many people. Like I go to school, obviously. I go to school with a plethora of people who just make excuses as to why their grades are not where they want them to be. Right? And I want to tell a story about myself. All right, freshman year and sophomore year, I was just playing around, indulging in little things, stupid things, and my mindset was completely wrong. I was chasing small pleasures. I was chasing things that were making me a bad person, and it really hurt me. It didn't just hurt me, it hurt my whole family, truthfully. And once an event happened in my life that was it was very traumatic. It completely changed my perspective. It changed my mindset on life. Because before, I didn't care about grades. I didn't care about God. I didn't care about my family. I mean, that sounds really bad, but it's the truth. And the truth is important, right? It's good to be a realist, right? At that moment of time, after that event happened, I was like, what am I doing? Why am I doing these things? Why am I not giving life 100%? Because that's the interesting about life is that you're all in. You're completely all in. You have all your eggs in one basket. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed, right? So once this event happened, my whole life changed. My whole perspective on life changed. My mindset changed. Freshman and sophomore year, I had a horrible GPA, right? B's and stuff like that. This year, 4.3 GPA, and I've been putting in the work. Right? And I look back to last year. It's only been a year, right? And one of my ex broke up with me because I was just a bad person. Yeah. Like I had nothing going for me. I wasn't applying myself to school. I wasn't applying myself in the gym. I wasn't doing anything right. But that's only because my mindset was focused on little pleasures. And I look back and I'm like, wow, I've grown so much. I've grown into this person that I'm truly proud of. And you know why? It's because my mindset changed. It went 180, right? Before, I was like, you know what? I don't care about doing this assignment. I'm too tired. That's just laziness, you know? But now I look at it, I'm like, okay, I have my goals. I didn't even have goals last year. Now I have goals. I have ambitions. And now I do whatever it takes to just be the best person I can every single day. And that's more than just motivation. That's discipline. Because at the other end of discipline is freedom. And it's beautiful. You know, when you wake up 5 a.m. in the morning, you go on a run and you go work out. And you go to school and you apply yourself to every single class and you study and you do everything you're supposed to. And you go home and you study again, and you go to sleep and you repeat. And you do that for a few weeks, you do that for a few months. You come out the other end transformed into a person who is capable of doing anything he puts his mind to, or her. It is on the other side of discipline, like I said, it's freedom. And I think motivation it's fleeting, because motivation comes and goes, but discipline stays. And there will be times where you feel motivated. Let's say you would see a video on YouTube, you see a video on TikTok or Instagram or Snapchat of this person killing it. You love seeing other people kill it in their lives. You see other people succeed in other lives, but what about your life? Why aren't you killing it? Why aren't you succeeding? You know, a lot of people like to live in other people's lives, but you need to start living in yours. You need to start being the person you just really want to be. You need to envision yourself as a warrior. You need to see yourself as a queen, as a king. You need to see yourself as someone who's resilient. You need to see yourself as someone who is capable of going through the hardest things in life and coming out the other even better than before.
That's a really good message.
Absolutely.
And he's absolutely right with everything he just said, right? Because in life, you can either be an excuse maker or a result achiever. One of the two, right? And I know because I've been on both ends. I used to literally I would say majority of my sentences that came out were excuses back then. I would love to make excuses.
No one likes to listen to someone who just...
No one likes to listen to someone who always has something as to why they didn't do this, or why they didn't do that, or why they said they were going to do this, and they didn't end up doing it. No one likes to hear that, right? And once you realize that making excuses is not helping you in any way, any form, or any shape, then you take a step back and you're like, well, what's the opposite of an excuse? It's a result.
Ooh.
And so you start from making excuses to making results.
Yeah.
And that is really where success happens. That is really where you find true happiness within yourself and your actions. At the end of the day, when you sleep in your bed, are you happy with the activities that you did during that day? If you are, then good. If you're not, come on now.
I mean, how can you sleep at night knowing that you're not doing everything you're supposed to be doing? I mean, some people go to sleep, not do anything. They don't study. They don't apply themselves at school. They're not a good son or daughter to their parents, and they go to sleep with a smile on their face, and they feel what's the word? They feel fulfilled in some way. They're able to go to sleep at night. But there are people out there who cannot sleep at night because there are things that need to be done. There are people out there who do not take no for an answer. There are people out there who do whatever it takes.
I want to say, if you are a teen, I'm gonna talk to the guys for a second, right? I was specifically teenage guys, right? And I'm gonna say something that I think a lot of people can relate to. Let's say you have this girl in mind, and you really want her, right? I'm talking about like you're on that Instagram every day, thinking about her, and she's all on the top of your mind.
Simping.
Always ask. In a sense, but I would say you can use that as motivation to better yourself, right?
It's true, man. It's true.
Think about this. Imagine that there is another person whose only goal is to take her away from you. And they are working day in and day out to make that a reality. To keep this person from ever being with you because they want them themselves, right? So you have to work harder, grind, and hustle. And maybe it's not a girl, right? Maybe it's a job you're after. Maybe it's some financial goal you're after. Think of someone on the opposite end of that spectrum who's trying to take that away from you, trying to take that position away from you, working harder than you to get to that goal, to get to that position, because they see themselves as worthy of that, and you don't see yourself as worthy of that. So I'm gonna ask you this: if you put two people up and they're both going for the same goal, and one thinks they're worthy of it and the other one doesn't think of it, like, who's gonna come out with that position? It's gonna be the person who thinks they're worthy of it.
It's true.
And it comes from the mindset. You can have all these things, right? But if your mindset is telling you that you are not capable of something, then it's all for nothing. I want to make the claim that your mindset at the start of the day determines your actions for that day. Yeah. If I were to go into the day thinking, I want to be lazy today, I'm going to be lazy that day just because my mind told me to be lazy. As soon as you wake up, the first thought you should have is, how can I conquer this day? We only have 24 hours in one day, right? That's hours in total. Now, how many of those hours are conscious? Let's say I'm asleep from, I'll say 10 to 6, right? I'll give that an average sleep schedule, right? That's what, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 8 hours of sleep. So 24 minus 8. What is that, 16?
Yeah.
So you have 16 hours in your day, actually. So you see how it goes from 24 to 16. All right. How can you make those 16 hours the most effective and productive hours you have ever lived in your life? And do that continually on a day-to-day basis if your mind is telling you that you're burnt out or you're tired. I don't even say the word tired anymore. Well, I just said it right now. But, in my vocabulary. Because your words have an effect on your mind. If you tell yourself something over and over again, eventually it'll come into fruition, because that can be for good or for bad. I can tell myself that, I'm a loser, I don't deserve this. And eventually, you know what, that's going to be the case, because I'm convincing myself that that's reality. And so whether it be that or not in the present time, eventually it'll come to pass. And that whatever I'm putting out is what I'm going to receive, right? I say that what people get is what they deserve, right? And that's for both ends of the spectrum. But if I want this certain goal and I'm telling myself that I'm not worthy of it, I'm never going to see that goal. I'm never going to see that result of that action, even if I'm working hard for it, because my mindset prohibited me from ever reaching that point. And so the point I'm trying to make is that you can literally have everything in place, but if your mind is not within the right position think of it at like, let's say like the plane, right? Think of it as a plane.
Okay.
Let's say you are a plane. And your mind is the weather outside. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but planes and turbulence, although it may feel shaky, right? But the plane is stable. So if you're a pilot of that plane and you're feeling turbulence and you're like, oh my God, we're going to die. And you think your plane's going to come crashing down and you let that take control over you, then guess what? Your plane's going down. But if you understand that you're not affected by that turbulence and you keep on cruising regardless of what's happening on the outside, then I guarantee you're going to come out that storm. And you're going to go into that clear days, the sunny skies, and you're going to see the results of your mindset come into play in your reality.
Yeah, you shouldn't stop when you're tired. You should stop when you're done.
Yes, exactly.
Right? When you wake up in the morning, okay, like the first things, if you're just starting and to get into this mindset of conquering the day, you need to write down. So get a journal, get a pen, and write down what you need to do. Get a to-do list. You know what? Screw a to-do list. Write a do list. Don't write a to-do list. Write a do list.
Write a must list.
Write a must.
I must wake up.
You must do these things. And then once you check off everything you were supposed to do that day, the most important things, like put it in order of the things that are the most important. Mm-hmm. And you check them off. And then at the end of the day, whenever you're done, you feel so much better. Putting in hard work, it might suck. It really does suck. Doing things that are hard suck. That's just the reality of it. But doing things that are really hard, there's something at the end of that. And that is freedom.
It is.
It's true freedom.
And you know what? On Sunday, right? I do Muay Thai, right? And one of the things that I was doing, it was like 10 minutes of just jumping on your calves, right? And it sucked. It actually sucked so bad. You know how many times I told myself that I want to quit and give up, but I didn't because I fought through it. And guess what? Yeah, even though I couldn't walk for like 2-3 days after, right? I was proud of myself. Because although I felt the pain, that pain, guess what? It's gone now, right?
It's a big old calf. That's what it is.
It's a big calf.
Look, think about it like this.
Look at that.
Think about it like this. It's a huge calf, man. Think about it like this. If life is a battle, be a warrior.
Ooh. You know, and you compare yourself. All right, I love to like envision myself like in Spartan training. That sounds kind of corny, right? But those Spartans were built different.
They were built different.
No, like literally.
Warriors.
It was like what, 300 against what, 3,000 or something like that?
What's that? The battle of
Don't even know, right?
Something. Battle of something.
Trojan War. Is that it?
No, it's not. Is it the Trojan War?
I'm really
it's like the battle of like.
I'm bad with
it's not that battle of Alexandria. I'm not even sure if that is a battle.
Doesn't matter.
Jamie,
those dudes were legends.
Fact check it, Jamie.
Jamie, fact check this.
Okay.
Regardless of what that is, right? You need to have a Spartan mindset. They literally were built to win. They had no option but to win. That's how you must go into life. You have no other option but to win. If you go in life with the possibility and you're allowing yourself to lose, come on now. You're going to lose.
Point? What is the point of that?
What's
the point of that?
No, literally, was it during D-Day when they got into the island and they burned the boats? They burned the boats.
There's no going back.
So they had no choice.
You're all in this.
They had no choice but to conquer the island. Did they win or lose? They won.
They won.
They
yeah,
conquered
I
that
had to think for a bit. But they won.
They won. They had no choice but to win. Their way of transport just got absolutely taken, right? So when you eliminate the possibility of going back, when you climb the ladder and you kick out the ladder from underneath, right? You have no choice but to go and fulfill whatever that purpose is. You literally have no other option. Go in life with that mindset. Go in life as if you don't serve this purpose now, it'll never get done, because I promise you if you don't, then it actually won't ever get done. You have someone who is depending on you right now, whether you know it or not. If you are a husband or if you are a wife, your spouse is depending on you.
That's true.
Regardless of whatever it is, right? You must fulfill your purpose in all aspects. No matter what it is, no matter how much it sucks in the present time, right? Because hard work sucks, like we said before. It sucks. No one wants to do hard work. But when you do hard work, man, you feel good after.
You feel really good.
When was the last time you regretted working hard?
Exactly.
Never.
Exactly.
Like, you do not regret working hard. You regret being lazy and you regret being a bum.
That's true.
When you're on the deathbed, can you... all right. If you were to go visit someone on their deathbed and you were to ask them, did you ever regret putting in that work? Putting in that extra rep in the gym, right? Unless they like absolutely like messed up in life or something, 99% of them will tell you that they didn't regret it. But you know what?
Yeah, that's true.
I would say I don't say you have to find a balance, right? Because I would say balance is, it's not an illusion, but balance.
Well, balance is very important, right? Because like if you allocate all your time into your job and your job is only your hard work, then you're going to become one-dimensional, right? And it's not good to only be 100% in one thing. It's good to be like 75% in every aspect of life, right? So what I mean by that is like if you ask someone who's on their deathbed, do you regret anything? And they're like, oh, I wish I would have spent more time with my family. Right? You shouldn't be like that. That's not what we're saying. Mm-hmm. We're talking about we're talking about changing your mindset from being a lazy person, from being not brokey, but like just like someone who thinks that they're not worthy of success, or they keep doubting themselves. You need to change it. You need to change your reality into something that's like fruitful. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and this is not to say that everyone watching this is like an absolute like bum, right? Because I guarantee there's some pretty successful people watching this. I would say, because I know some people who personally watch this, right? Hello. And there's some success behind that. But I would say majority of the people don't fathom that thought that they're capable of reaching that point, and so they live in a safety zone, in a comfort zone. Because when you're in the comfort zone,
you're never growing.
You're all tucked in.
You're not growing if you're in the comfort zone.
You're not growing, right?
You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah. It is, if you were to live your life with the mindset that whatever position you're in is when you're... If you become complacent and you become content with your current situation, then that's okay. But just recognize that you'll never grow out of that.
That's true.
So let's say you have like, an okay job, an okay household, okay this, okay that. If you're fine with that, then that's fine. But you're never going to reach great this, great that, So that's the trade-off, right? You cannot remain complacent with even if you experience success, you can't take your foot off the gas.
It's true.
Because there's always someone coming after you.
It's a competitive world out there.
The world is okay. The world is competitive whether you like it or not. Because think about it. Let's talk about actual competition, right? So sports.
Ooh.
If you stop producing results in sports, you're cut. They'll replace it with someone who is, right? So there's these football players who we don't even know, right? But they're grinding day in and day out because they understand that there's going to be a day when someone's going to be slacking off on the team and they're going to get cut off. And that's their opportunity to go in and make their mark. So think of it like everyone is after you. Pretty much imagine that everyone is after you, right? Even if you don't think that there is, pretend like there is, right? Envision the competition just walking behind, like a foot behind you, and they're following every step you do, and they're just waiting to see you fall. Like, you have to live with that mindset that there is someone preying on your downfall 24/7.
You can't just want something. You need it. You must long for it. Like, if you want success, you better want it as much as you want to breathe, as much as you want to eat, type stuff. Like, if you want success, you're gonna have to go days where you don't really sleep that much. You're gonna have to go days where you don't. You know what? If you're really grinding, if you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, sometimes you're gonna forget to eat.
Like it was I think it was Shakira or something. Or Shakira, Beyonce. I think it was Beyonce. She was working so hard on like the set. I think she was doing like a movie or something. But there was a day where she didn't eat for like 4 days, just because of how she said she forgot to eat because of how hard she was working. But guess what? That didn't stop her.
Wow.
I think no, like you can go look this up. I think it was either Shakira or Beyonce, one of those figures, right? But they did not eat because they were on set putting the work in for like 4 or 5 days. That is the level that if you really want true success, right? And I'm talking about like success in any aspect, you have to be willing to put in that type of work. Because that type of work is not for the average person, right? But in order to be a part of the 1%, you have to be willing what 90% of others won't do. 99% of others are not willing to do. That is what separates good from great. When you take a look at like a basketball, right? You have role players. You have people, they'll drop 8, 10 points a game. That's a good player. Then you take a look at some legends, right? They're dropping 20, 30 points. That's a great player. And then you see like, okay, well, what's the work difference? What's the work ethic between the two people? Like, you take a look to see how hard someone pushes themselves in practice, because they can practice for the same amount of time, but how much effort are they putting in towards that?
Yeah.
That's really where you see, okay, that's where that's why this person produces that.
How much intensity do you have towards your life? How much effort? What's like the gain to effort ratio that you're getting out of life? You know, like how much are you putting into life and how much are you getting out? If you're not getting that much out of life, that's because you're not putting that much in. That can be applied to a lot of things. If you want a better relationship, well, you better work hard. You better put in the work. If you want better grades, you better put in the work. If you want to get that freaking body that you want to get that summer body, you want to get that six pack, you're gonna have to eat different. You're gonna have to sleep different. You're gonna have to think different. That's mindset. You have to think different. You have to think different than everybody else, right? You have to surround yourself with winners, with people who win. You can't surround yourself with people who are not striving to be better every single day, because they're going to drag you down. They're going to drag, don't even hang around people who are negative. People who are negative, they drag down your energy. And it's like the weird energy around negative people, around pessimistic people.
No, it's true. There's like, even so far, I think Robert Greene says that you shouldn't even be hanging around like unlucky people, because that'll come on to you, right? I don't know how true that is, right? But essentially, the essence of that, you don't want to be putting yourself within those people who have, let's say bad mindsets, just for a generalization, right? You need to actually surround. And let's say you're telling yourself right now, oh, I don't know anybody who's a millionaire. I don't know anybody who's experienced financial success, financial prosperity. I'll say this. You don't have to know them personally, right? It can be a parasocial connection. There are books out there. You can invite them to your circle by reading books, because that is their thoughts. And when you do that, you'll subconsciously invite them into your circle. Read. Okay, if I were to give you a list of like the top 5 books I would want anyone to read to change their mindset, links to the description, by the way, I would do this. First book is Rich Dad Poor Dad. Second book is How to Win Friends and Influence People. Third book is Atomic Habits. Fourth book is Richest Man in Babylon. And fifth book is seven habits of highly effective people. All right, read those books, and I promise you, 100% guarantee your perspective on life will change. That is a guarantee. If you read those books and you tell me that your life or your perspective did not change, I'm calling you a liar, right? Because just that first book, it changed my perspective. Just one book, and I give you 5, right? That is okay. There are power in words, and when you really understand that, because you don't have to know the person personally, right? But you're inviting their thoughts, and you're taking that into action. I promise you, your life's gonna be so much better. And people love to make excuses about this, right? Oh, I don't have time to read books. Listen to an audiobook. Oh, you can literally listen to an audiobook when you're taking a shower, driving to work, doing the dishes, making dinner, right? Oh, I don't have the money. Find a leaked PDF online. like there are so many ways to just counter an excuse, because an excuse is just a lie that's coded with another lie. Right? So you really just have to cut out all excuses in your life, right? Because no one wants to be around an excuse maker. I can promise you that right now. If you ever want to find yourself in a position of prosperity, you have to cut off excuses, because no one wants to be around someone who's always giving them a reason as to why they didn't do something, right? They want to be around result givers.
That's right. That's right.
Like if you were to meet a Fortune 500 CEO, and you were to if you guys were to do a partnership, and you present him with an excuse, what do you think is gonna happen when you give him an excuse? Is he gonna be like, okay, we'll try it again? No, he's gonna cut you out, because he needs to be around result producers. It needs to be an equal relationship, right? Because he's already shown you through his credibility that he produces results. So you have to do the same too. And even if you don't have a connection to a Fortune 500 CEO right now, produce results for yourself. You are yourself. Literally, when you go to sleep at night, you have to be proud of what you've done for the day. You can't lie to yourself saying that what you did was good or that you gave it all, when you know subconsciously that you could have gone 10% more, 20% more, even 5% more, right? If you're not emptying the tank every day, you're not going to be the person that you want to be. I promise you that right now.
That's facts. Burned out?
You're not a role.
Sore? You wake up in the morning and you're sore, so you don't go work out. You're sore?
Come on now.
Excuses. I mean, but people don't understand the work that the most successful people put in. I mean, when you look at an NBA player who's on the bench, they put in hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. They dedicated so much time into their craft. You have to dedicate time into the craft that you want to perfect in order to get results. And that's just the way it is. That is just the way it is. Let's talk to the men here. Being a man is hard, because if you want to be a successful man, you have to go against other men in the same realm, right? And there are men out there who are freaking robots, who freaking do work 20 hours a day, sleep 4 hours a day. So it's very competitive, and you need to be able to outwork them. But most importantly, you have to be able to outwork yourself, right? You need to change the paradigm of your mindset into something that is much more productive.
Exactly. It is you versus yourself, right? And let's go back to the basketball player thing, right? People love to knock on bench warmers. Oh, he's just a bench warmer in the NBA. He doesn't play. The average salary in the NBA, I think, is like $500,000. That is literally 10 times more than the average American salary, period. Right? So while you're knocking on this person because he's sitting on the bench, he goes 2 minutes a game. That dude is making... He's making bank. Okay. He might care if he plays or not, right? But at the end of the day, he's coming home with a fat stack of cash, right? And that's just a result of his work. So even though he may not be making millions like some of the superstars, he's still getting a good end of the deal, right? He's still seeing the fruits of his labor, because that I guarantee you, anybody would want to trade position with him.
That's true, man.
So it really, you have to. And people love to quote. I go back to excuses and things like that, but it's true, right? You cannot find an excuse anymore. You have to be real with yourself, and it may hurt at first, right? Because no one likes to be honest. They love to sugarcoat things. You cannot sugarcoat things no more. If you're in an unhappy position with your body, with your situation, with your finances,
fix it.
Right? And people are like, oh, it's hard because there's this.
Well, it's supposed to be hard. That's the other thing. It's supposed to be hard. Or else, if it wasn't hard, then it wouldn't have any value to it.
Exactly.
It wouldn't have any value whatsoever. If everybody had a six-pack, then it wouldn't be valuable.
A six-pack would not be impressive.
It wouldn't be valuable.
Literally. there is so much meaning that comes behind the result of hard work that is only able to be experienced if you go out and do it yourself. You can watch all these motivational videos on TikTok or whatever, and you get motivated from that, right? But at the end of the day, that person is the one who experienced that success, and all you're doing is just seeing how they experienced it, right? You're not actually experiencing it yourself. Like Roger said earlier, you can't live someone else's life. You have to live it on your own, right? And so it comes back, you have to change your environment, right? Put yourself in positions that allow you to do things like that, right? It all comes from here. All starts from your mind. Your mind is such a powerful tool that when utilized in the proper way, it can allow you to experience these things when people don't think that they're capable of that. It just like boggles my mind. I really want to I want to go to the gym right now. That's actually what I want to do.
Let's do 500 push-ups now.
500 right now.
If you're watching this, drop down and give me 10 push-ups, please. Right now. Go. We'll wait.
Come on now. Waiting.
We're waiting. Come on.
You do them yet? All right, good job.
Good job. We're proud of you.
Only assuming if you did. All right, if you didn't, come on now. But if you did, good job. You better yourself. All right, let's take it a different route. We've talked about how people can, gain a better mindset, how they can change their environment. Let's talk about the people, how you can. I would say that 99% of mindset is, I don't want to call it an illusion, but I would say it is what you make out of it, right? Because I can be in a really good position, but then again, if I see it as something bad, then it's going to be bad for me.
Perspective is important.
Perspective. That's what I'm looking for. Perspective. I would say that you have to have a good end on both sides in order to really experience the fruition of it, right? You cannot go through success with a bad perspective. There was I think Steve Harvey said this or something, but he was like, there was someone that went from making $5K a month to making $10K a month, right? But his goal was $300,000 a month. So he was comparing himself to that $300,000 goal. Even though he went from 5 to 10, right? He was comparing it to that. I still didn't get my goal of 300,000. He was like, you just doubled your monthly income that you just had, and you're not happy with that. Like, it's okay to find success within those little wins, right? Yeah. Even though you may not find yourself at that end goal that you're wanting, you still have to take into account results and progress along the way. Because if you keep on knocking yourself down, you're never going to reach that point. So yeah, it's good to have super high goals, right? Super high ambitions. But you have to recognize that you're making progress day to day. Because if you don't do that, then you're just knocking yourself down. And if you keep on dragging yourself down, there's no possible way you're ever going to climb up to the top.
Yeah, you have to keep moving forward every single day. You can never be stagnant. You can never... You know what? You can never really just follow the herd. You have to make yourself stand out. And yet, that means you have to take risks. You have to do things that people don't want to do. And that's just what life is. There is a lot of pain and suffering behind hard work, right? But that's just how it is. There is a lot of there's been a lot of times in my life where I don't even want to get up in the morning.
Real.
The bed is really comfortable. The pillow feels nice. The blanket is, it's keeping me warm. I have to wake up and take a cold shower. Who the heck wants to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning and take a cold shower? You have to be kind of crazy to do something like that, right? But it's become so habitual in my life that I just do it. I wake up, I get in that shower and I get out and I'm like, you know what? I already conquered. I already won a battle today. It's like, how many battles can I win in today? Yeah. And it's just like, and then how many battles can you win throughout life? And you have to change the way you look at yourself. I saw a video of a psychologist trying to help one of their patients, and the patient wanted to make more money, right? The patient wanted to make $200,000 a year, but currently they're making $50,000 a year. But they viewed themselves as someone who only made $50,000 a year, right? Okay, and we can extrapolate this into someone who only makes, let's say, 50 sales, like a salesperson, and they only make 50 sales a week. And then they never grow, because they only view themselves as someone who makes 50 sales a week. But if you view yourself as someone who makes 200 sales a week, 250 sales a week, then you literally change your results. You change everything just by the way you view yourself. I think self-image is it's so important. It's vital for success, If you view yourself as, let's see, and, that's something that I read in, I think, Atomic Habits. It was, the only way to really make habits stick is if you change your self-identity, right? So, let's say you want to go to the gym, and you're motivated or whatever, you're disciplined for 2 months to go to the gym and you go every day, right? But then that goes away. Or like, let's say you're training for a marathon. So you run for the marathon and that's it. But you only ran the marathon. You didn't become a runner. You have to change your self-identity to become successful, you know? You have to change your whole self-image into something completely different. Like, let's say you want to write a book, right? You can't just write a book and that's it. You have to view yourself as a writer, right? If you view yourself as someone who's unsuccessful, that's bad, especially if you want to become successful, right? So self-image goes hand in hand with mindset. In fact, it's probably like the same, you know? Because like, look, think about it like this. If I view myself as someone who goes to the gym and that's it, but I don't see myself as an athlete or something like that, then the habit is not going to stick, you know? And that's what we see with successful people. You know, they see themselves as a CEO. They see themselves as someone who's an innovator. And we all have this capability of changing our mindset just like that. In the snap of a finger, you can view yourself as someone completely different. And the best way to make habits stick is to change your self-identity, to change your self-image, right? And like I said, if you want to become a runner, then view yourself as someone who runs. And then the habit will become a lot easier to maintain. If you want to read books, view yourself as a reader. If you want to become successful, think of yourself as a successful person. If you want to become a lucky person, then you have to think in the realm that you are a lucky person in general, and things will just start happening. Because a lot of habits don't stick, right? Because they go out of our lives. They flee away. They flee. But that's because your self-image is still the same as it was before, right? So you have to change it. And I keep saying like the same message over and over again, but it's true. You have to change your self-identity if you want habits to stick and if you want to become successful. You have to view yourself as someone who's capable of those things, you know? And it's not always good to just view yourself as one noun. Like I'm just a writer. I think that the most creative people wake up every day with a new sense of identity, like a new mold that they want to be able to shape into, you know. And these people are innovators, and we all have this capability inside of us.
That is, whew, man. No, everything you said there was just absolutely correct, right? And literally, okay, you are probably thinking to yourself right now, how? So, some people can't fathom the thought of viewing themselves as someone because they're like, how can I be someone that I'm not? Well, because you think you can't be someone that you're, all right? And it's not being someone that you're not. It's pushing yourself to become the person that you want to be.
Wait, I have something to say. If you think that say that thing that you just said again, if you remember it.
Man, I was like,
oh no, like, okay, look, he said that if you think that you're someone you're not, then like, how are you supposed to think that you're somebody else?
Yeah.
But you're already thinking that you're somebody not. So you're already thinking in the terms that I'm trying to explain, that me and Alex are trying to convey.
Yeah.
Right? So it's easy to view yourself as someone different if you're already viewing yourself as someone who's not capable.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, it starts from within, right? Your mind is a garden of product, regardless of what it is. And if the fruits that you're producing within that garden are rotten and they're spoiled because you're not nurturing it with the proper thoughts and with the proper environment, then you have no right to complain about your situation. But if you take the action and you change you start mixing up the soil, you know, give it a little more sunlight to your actions, you know, water it every day, be consistent, you're going to start seeing some pretty flowers. I'll tell you that right now.
The garden's going to grow.
The garden's going to grow. And more, matter of fact,
it's going to blossom.
People are going to get jealous of your garden.
They're going to try and take it away.
Try and take your garden away from you. You have to, not only do you have to produce results, you have to protect them too. Because the moment you start succeeding is the same moment people start hating and people start bringing you down. Because no one likes to see people doing better than them. That's why, regardless of anything you'll see online, right, there's always going to be some hater in the comment section that they're just typing away. And, you know, they're all, because you can find negative in any situation. It is so easy for people to hate. It is so easy for people to spew negativity because, you know, people are just judgmental, right?
Yeah.
But you have to find a way to push past that, move past what other people say. You have to find success within. If you can find success within yourself, then that's good enough already, right? You cannot listen to what other people tell. You cannot let other people dictate your life. You cannot be defined by other people's words about you. True success is how you define yourself. With that, Roger, I want to conclude by just leaving a message. If there's one thing that you can take from this video, please let it be this. Is that your thoughts or your actions are simply the product of your thoughts. Although it is a simple saying, there is so much weight that goes into it. And I want you to reflect on the action that you did today. Like any action, it could be any action. Now, what thought led you to make that action? Let's say you were hungry. So you went and go got food. That thought of being hungry provoked you to go make the action to go acquire some food.
You have to be hungry to be successful.
You have to be hungry for it. You have to be hungry for it. You can be, an absolute animal if you envision yourself as that, right? But in the same time, you can be an absolute victim if you give yourself that mindset.
Look, let's talk about the animal kingdom, okay?
Animal kingdom.
When a lion gets cut all over, he doesn't start crying or whatever. He licks his wounds. Think about it.
That is like some debauchery.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Okay, how many people today, when they get a scraped knee, the first thing that they do is, my knee. You gotta be a savage. Give me more. I'll take my knee. I'll scrape it more across the concrete. Feel the pain, right? It's like what the Marines say. Pain is weakness leaving the body. Ooh. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you take these words that you heard today and you put them into practice. You change your mindset and you find success within your life. Success that you didn't even know you were capable of. But we're here to tell you today, right now, that you are capable of anything you put your mind into, regardless of what anybody says. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to Lesson 5 of Society Reformed. Follow us in links in the description. If you liked our message, share it with a couple of friends.
Like the video.
Make sure to subscribe. It's been a pleasure. I'm Alex.
I'm Roger.
Thank you for watching.